let's talk about AI. The conversation around it is, well, it's pretty intense, right? Depending on who you ask, it's either the dawn of this amazing new utopia or, the beginning of the end. So, which one is it? Today, we're going to dig into a really interesting idea that cuts through all that noise and asks a pretty simple question. Should we be panicking, or is this just progress?
So let's just state the obvious. AI is here, and man, is it moving fast. Every single day, you see headlines filled with hype, a good dose of fear, and some just wild predictions. But is this whole feeling, this mix of panic and excitement, is it actually new? Or is it just a story we've seen play out, time and time again with other world-changing technologies? And that's really the core idea we're going to unpack. The whole argument is that to understand our future with AI, we first have to take a good, hard look at our past. Because the way society reacts to these massive technological shifts, it follows a surprisingly predictable pattern.
I mean, think about these for a second. Every single one of them completely reshaped society. The printing press, electricity, cars, the internet, they all brought incredible progress, for sure. But they also sparked massive disruption and some very real fears about jobs, about society, about our whole way of life. It was definitely not a smooth ride. But in the end, we adapted.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. The author Nurit Weissblatt breaks down our collective reaction into this cycle. It kicks off with awe, just wonder at what's suddenly possible, but then, almost immediately, fear creeps in, anxiety, which often leads to a full-on backlash. But then, over time, we see the slow, gradual adoption. And finally, normalization. The tech just becomes a boring, standard part of life. Sound familiar?
So here's the crucial point. Our own history suggests that we will figure out how to navigate the rise of AI, just like we always have. Now, it's probably going to be a messy process, full of public debates, new laws, and shifting social rules. But ultimately, we find a way to make these new tools a part of our lives. Okay, but not everyone buys that argument. Not even close. So let's dive into the first of two competing visions for our AI future. The pessimistic take, the one people are calling the doomer perspective. This slide just lays it out perfectly, the two totally opposing mindsets. On one side, you've got the doomer view. They see AI as this unstoppable, almost magical force, and humanity is just this passive, frankly incompetent victim. Their solution, top-down, centralized, authoritarian control. But then you have the resilience view, which sees it completely differently. To them, AI is just a tool, and we are the architects shaping it. So the solution is the exact opposite. Give more power and more choice to the users.
Let's dig a little deeper into that doomer stance. They often talk about AI like it exists in a total vacuum. It's framed as this disembodied brain that doesn't have to play by the normal rules of society or physics or logistics. And that's exactly where all the fears of a runaway superintelligence come from. This idea that AI can just override all of our existing systems. This quote from a critic of the doomer argument is just so powerful. It argues their biggest mistake is that they completely ignore context. Technology doesn't just pop into existence out of nowhere. It's built, and it's sustained by our political systems, our economies, our cultures. In other words, an AI can't do a single thing without the enormous human infrastructure that supports it.
And when you see AI as this uncontrollable force, it leads you to some pretty extreme proposals. The doomer argument basically concludes that society, well, we're just too incompetent to handle AI, so human agency has to be replaced by central control. Some people have even seriously suggested things like constant surveillance of key AI researchers. All right, now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the debate, the case for human resilience. This perspective says, hold on, we are not passive victims here at all. We're the ones in the driver's seat. The key concept to get here is that AI is a socio-technical product. Okay, that's a bit of a mouthful, but it's really just a fancy way of saying it's not magic. It's built by people, it's trained on data we select, for goals we choose, and it's released into situations that we decide on. Every single step of the way, it's being shaped by human decisions. And this right here, this really gets to the heart of the resilience argument. The future of AI is not already written. It's going to be a direct reflection of our choices, what we decide to build, the kind of behavior we're willing to tolerate, the laws we pass, and the skills we teach. The power, it's in our hands. And when we say we, who are we even talking about? Well, it's not some abstract concept. It's all of these groups. It's the researchers in the lab, the policymakers in government, the leaders in industry, journalists who are shaping the whole public conversation, and, this is the big one, everyday users, like you and me, who are deciding how to actually use these tools.
So, from this point of view, AI is not about replacing humans. It's about augmenting our abilities. It's a tool that, if we use it well, can boost our capacity to learn, to create, and to solve really complex problems. Ultimately, it can increase human agency, not take it away. So, if we accept that we actually have control here, what's the best way to move forward? Well, the resilience argument points toward a future that's all about choice and decentralization. I absolutely love this metaphor from the source material. The goal isn't to have one giant, all-powerful AI that's controlled by a few powerful gatekeepers. The ideal future is a diverse ecosystem, a world where many flowers can bloom, giving us all a huge variety of tools and services to choose from. So how do we actually get there? This slide breaks down the practical path beautifully. First, we got to embrace decentralization to avoid any single points of control or failure. Second, promote open standards. Just think about how the internet itself was built on open protocols that anyone could use. It led to an absolute explosion of creativity. We want that same environment for AI. And third, and maybe most importantly, focus everything on expanding user agency, giving people the power and the tools to make AI work for them. And all of this brings us to the final and most crucial question. The future is not set in stone. The blueprints for our AI-powered world are literally being drawn right now as we speak. So the choice we all have to face is this. Do we hand over those blueprints to a small group of people who are terrified of human incompetence? Or do we trust ourselves, our collective resilience, to take the tools and build something better together?